O's fans, dare I say, here we go again. The hits just keep on coming. And I got to tell you, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. So if you're ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly, Joe Rossano's Orioles report with Matt Faulkner is next. Welcome to Joe Rossano's Orioles report with the very handsome Matt Faulkner. Matt Faulkner, what say you, sir?
Joe, good talking to you, my brother. Before we get started, I wanted to do a wellness check because for weeks now, you've been pounding the table for the Orioles to trade for Freddie Peralta. And when I saw
Yeah.
the news break on Thursday, you were the first guy that I thought of. So I just wanted to check in with you to make sure that, you were doing okay since the trade was announced.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. I don't want to say I owe Michael Sullivan an apology because the only thing he's going to do is like make fun of my necklaces or my bracelets. But what I will say is this. I figured that maybe a Ryan Mountcastle and a Cade Povich, et cetera, would have done it. And yeah, it probably they wanted a pretty large package for Freddie Peralta. So yeah, the Framber Valdez, Zach Gallen. We talked about Justin Verlander. Of the three, I wanted Freddie Peralta. So yeah, I mean, thanks for the wellness check. I'm still alive. I appreciate it.
Well, that's great to hear that you're doing okay and you're finding a way to kind of get through it. It was a move that was very, I think, typical Milwaukee Brewers. And if you look at the last few years, it's a move that probably a lot of people saw coming. You think back to they traded Corbin Burns obviously to the Orioles. He had a year left on his contract. Last season, Devin Williams was traded to the Yankees. He was their all-star closer. And then obviously Freddie Peralta, their ace, he has 1 year left on his deal. They make the move, trading him to the Mets. As a fan of the Brewers, I'm sure it's tough. But from a business standpoint, I think it makes sense, especially if you're not thinking that you're going to be able to re-sign that particular guy. You might as well get something for him while you still have him. The other move, speaking of the MLB hot stove, was Mackenzie Gore. He was another name that we had sort of brought up over some episodes in terms of maybe he was a potential trade target for the Orioles. He gets traded from Washington going to the Rangers. The Rangers traded 5 prospects. Like they gave up a ton of pitchers and a ton of top prospects to acquire Mackenzie Gore. And so then the question then becomes, you read Twitter, you see stuff on Facebook about the Orioles making that next move for Framber Valdez. I read a few tweets out there where they were talking about MLB executives expect the Orioles to sort of be that team that ultimately signs Valdez. My question to you, because we've been through this before where the Orioles are the bridesmaid, where we're always seemingly coming in second place. Are we setting ourselves up for disappointment if we think that ultimately Framber Valdez will be a Baltimore Oriole?
Please like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell for all the latest episodes of Joe Rossano's Orioles report with Matt Faulkner and Michael Sullivan. Could be wrong, okay? We could be doing breaking news in a couple of minutes. Orioles signed Framber Valdez. A
That would
couple
be
of
awesome.
things happened here. Okay, so now you have Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease, he struck out over 200 batters last year, but his ERA was abysmal for a front of the rotation starting pitcher. Okay. 7 years, 210. 7 at 210. I'm Framber Valdez's agent. My client's getting 7 years. And I think that Dylan Cease getting 7 years, I think really caused a problem for teams getting starting pitching now, especially when you're talking about the Zach Gallens and the Framber Valdez's I think he wants 7 years. And I don't see a scenario where the Orioles give him 7 years. The only people Orioles give 7 years to are people like Chris Davis. I'm just kidding. That's so scorched earth.
Ubaldo Jimenez is another one. He was getting paid about 2 or 3 years after they released him.
Yeah. Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid, from what I understand. Or this might have been the last year. I can't remember. But again, I mean, Dylan Cease, again, 7 years, $210 million. I think that if you could get him for 5 years, he's going to want what the 200 with the 7 for 210 uh, lays out to be on an annual basis. And yeah, I mean, because think about this. If you gave Dylan C 7 years and now we're Framber Valdez's agents, wouldn't we want 7 years? Tell me where I'm going wrong here, Matt Faulkner.
I completely agree. I mean, I think that Framber Valdez is a better pitcher. If I have one game to win and I'm forced to pick between Framber Valdez and Dylan Cease, I want Framber Valdez on the mound. And so to your point, if I'm his agent, I'm not settling because in my opinion, my guy is better than Dylan Cease. And to your point, if Dylan Cease gets a 7-year deal for $200+ million, I'm not settling. Now the question is, at what point though is it almost getting too late? We're not that far away from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training, and so the longer this thing drags out, the more of an impact that it could have on the start of the regular season. Does the guy have enough buildup in spring training? Will he get enough innings? And so that's sort of the question. At what point does it kind of drag on too far where Framber Valdez almost is forced to make a decision? Because some of these teams, they're going to continue adding and subtracting and getting their rosters to the point that they want for the regular season. And so as a GM, I don't know that you can necessarily wait and expect Framber Valdez to ultimately sign, because what happens if he doesn't and he goes to somebody else? If you're Mike Elias and you've got all those eggs in that basket and suddenly somebody else jumps in at the last minute, now you're kind of in a really tough situation. Another team that I think could be involved with Framber Valdez, the San Diego Padres. I'm not sure if you saw, but Yu Darvish allegedly is considering retiring. He's got like a 3-year deal left with the Padres. And I was reading where he was seriously considering voiding the contract and just retiring. And if that's the case, I think San Diego absolutely would be interested in Valdez, and they're not a team that's shy about spending money. So that is my fear, is that the Orioles wait, they wait, and then at the 11th hour, somebody jumps in and signs him, and that rug gets pulled from him.
I mean, again, at the end of the day, the teams that could sign him, right, are the Dodgers. I'd scorched earth. Let me move on from that. San Diego, as you said, Boston got Ranger Suarez. I'd say they're good to go. They had a pretty darn good pitching staff over there. Will he sign back at Houston? That's possible. But again, there are and the Orioles, that's the thing. I think it's the years that is going to cause a problem. Now, let me pivot to Zach Gallen here for a second. People think, well, Zach Gallen had a down year last year or whatever the case may be. I mean, he's going to be cheap somehow. No, he's not. No, he's not. I think he wants $200 million too. I really do. I mean, these starting pitchers want a lot of money nowadays. I mean, a starting pitcher is such a commodity now that at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, if you look at it, the San Diego Padres are a pretty good fit. And Blake Snell didn't sign until when? April? Or was it pushing late April? So at the end of the day, I think that these free agents, I'm not saying they don't care, but they'll sign on opening day if that means 7 years at 210. So, yeah, I'm at the end of the day. The reason I said at the top is I'm not surprised is, yeah, the Orioles getting Framber Valdez. I am starting to doubt it. I mean, we got Pete Alonso, right? And I think that because who was Pete Alonso? We see him at the All-Star game, right? Home run champion. We see him on the MLB network. He's a big name. And we figured the floodgates were open. We figure we're not only getting Framber Valdez, we're getting Zach Gallen too. We're going to pick up Ranger Suarez while we're at it. Matt Faulkner, I'm not sure, sir. I am just not sure. But a lot of players are getting a lot of money.
So the other thing about Valdez that I wanted, and I think we talked about this with one of the other episodes, was how much of an effect did the incident with his catcher, how much is that playing a role in him not being signed yet? Are there teams that are somewhat concerned about giving him a 7-year deal and $200+ million when he's showing up as catcher, when he's throwing a fastball and hitting his catcher in the face because the catcher thinks it's a breaking ball, and the catcher's calling for one pitch and he doesn't throw that pitch and gives up a home run? Like, I don't know how much that, maybe I'm overstating the importance of that. Maybe there are teams that probably aren't looking at that from a negative standpoint, but to me, I 100% am concerned. If I'm giving you that much money and you've done that in the past, that is a cause of concern. At least if I'm a GM.
Cause for concern. I didn't like it. I didn't like it when it happened. And you don't think that plays a role in this? I'd say it does. He throws a baseball at his catcher. I got to tell you that it was immature. Now, I was an athlete my whole life. I believe you were too. Sometimes we get frustrated, especially out there in the heat of the moment. But goodness graciousness, he's a Major League Baseball player. And I'm telling you, I don't care what he says. I don't care what the organization says. He threw the baseball at his catcher, Matt Faulkner. He threw the baseball at his catcher.
And it's almost one of those things where if he was a younger player, if he was 23, 24, you might be able to sort of make an excuse. He's inexperienced, let his emotions get the best of him, but he's 32. So, like, at a certain point, you're not a young player anymore. Like, you're a veteran. You've been there. You've done that. There's highs, there's lows in a Major League Baseball season. And if that is, it almost reminded me, you remember Trevor Bauer when he was pitching with Cleveland. And I remember Terry Francona went out to the mound to take him out. And I think it was against the Orioles, if I remember correctly. And
No, it
Trevor
wasn't.
Bauer, well, okay, so I just remember Terry Francona going to the mound and make a pitching change. Trevor Bauer had the baseball, and before Francona could get to the mound to take the ball, Trevor Bauer just turns around and just throws the ball over the center field fence. And I'm thinking to myself, number one, that's very impressive that you could throw it that far because it cleared
Thought
the
that
fence.
too.
I mean, and then I just remember Terry Francona seeing his face, and he was scolding him like a little leaguer. And they go back into the dugout and into the tunnel where there's no cameras, and I can only imagine what was said. But that incident that Valdez pulled, it kind of was eerily similar to what Trevor Bauer did when he was with Cleveland. I think it was
Now,
Kansas
he
City.
tried to apologize to his manager, to Terry Francona, and Terry Francona wasn't having it. Yeah. So he was a Cincinnati Red not too long after that. But yeah, I remember that. That's as some folks would say, that's gangster. But yeah, I mean, Trevor Bauer, I have a sneaky suspicion we probably never going to see him again playing
Yeah, I
Major
think
League
that.
Baseball anyway.
No, I think that he'll continue pitching somewhere. It just isn't going to be in the U.S. for any big league team. That's
Not going to
just
be in the U.S.
not going to happen.
So at the end of the day, Matt, again, I just kind of wished that we would make these kinds of splashes that you see other teams make sometimes, like Pete Alonso. I love that. I love that move. I love that signing. I got it. I got it. I mean, Pete Alonso sometimes maybe is a little on the arrogant side, but so what? So what? But yeah, is Framber Valdez coming here? I just don't think so. I just don't think so. And let me tell you what I do know though, Matt. What I do know, Matt Faulkner, is those fans how much we greatly and wholeheartedly appreciate you spending a little time with your pal Joe Rossano and Matt Faulkner. Please like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell for all the latest episodes of Joe Rossano's Orioles Report with Matt Faulkner and Michael Sullivan. As always, my dearest friends and O's fans, God bless you. Don't forget to adopt a pet, and we'll see you next time.